Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm H and today we're going to talk about how to close your week effectively. Let's go! So firstly, I'm just going to kick things off and just tell you about the importance of closing your week. So every Sunday, or even every Friday if you wanted to at the end of a working week, what you can do is just recap everything that's happened in that week and get some closure from it. So the fundamentals of this exercise is just going to be a lot of recapping and a lot of writing, but a lot of processing in the same sense. So this technique involves writing, recapping, and obviously processing those feelings. So firstly, why do we need closure? Before we start anything, why do we need it? The fact is we have a lot of different things happening throughout our week, some good, some bad, some horrible, some really beneficial, some uplifting. We have loads of different emotions bouncing around our brains, bouncing around our bodies every week. So this is what we got to try and focus on, because to get a positive mindset and build a bigger mental resilience, we have to try and harness that negativity, process it, and throw it in the bin. That is what we're trying to achieve by using this technique and this process right now. So we're going to try and write them down, recap all of them and process them, and then throw them in the bin. But also, just as it's good to process the negativity, it's always important to process the positivity, the good things that happen, because that is what increases your mental resilience alongside it. That's your fuel. The negativity is what challenges it, but the positivity is what fuels it and what encourages you to maintain that mental resilience. So we'll write down both the positives that happened and then obviously the negatives thereafter. We'll process them both individually, so you'll process all the negatives and we'll get them sorted firstly. Then we'll process the positives, so we'll end on a positive note, and then we'll keep those positive thoughts whereas we're throwing the negative ones away. So now I've explained why we need to do this closure, or why it's important to have closure week on week. We'll now go on to actually using the technique itself. So firstly, for the technique, we need a pen and a paper, just pen and paper. And on this sheet of paper, we're going to write negatives and we're going to write positives as headings. We're going to split the page in two. So working from Monday as a subheading on both, so you can sort of just draw a line on Monday, do it repeatedly for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but obviously we got to go day by day. So just recap, this is going to improve what you've endured throughout the week and improve your memory, as well as obviously getting in touch with your emotions that you've experienced throughout the week. So when we start writing, we're just going to focus on starting writing on the negatives. So whatever days you worked, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to write down the negatives day by day for what happened throughout the day. And that's negatives that happened in work, but also you can apply these to your home personal life as well, and your social lives even. So apply it generally. If a friend texts you something that was insulting, you can stick that in there. If someone didn't open the door for you in work and slammed the door in your face in work, put that in. So every minor negativity is what we need to put in here, as well as the big things that happened, because the minor things are the ones that we compartmentalize in the back of our brain, and then further down the line those little things will trigger onto a big thing and then exacerbate the problem and make that far worse than it needs to be. So firstly, when we write, just write the whole negatives for the week. Now we've hopefully got a full sheet of negatives, or a full week of negatives. What I want you to do now is break down each one and ask them 3 questions each, or ask the day 3 questions. Those 3 questions are, firstly, how did it make you feel? Secondly, what can you do to stop that happening again? And then thirdly, finally, is it important now? Does it matter now? Does that negativity matter now? So as you process that and go through the list, your brain is going to think about these questions and think about the answers. You can have a separate sheet for the answers if you wish, just to process. If you find it easier to write things down, I'll always encourage people to write emotions down and write feelings down, because it makes it more tangible. When you can read something and make it physical, your brain has a slightly different process on actually understanding that information. Plus, the negativity, you can actually scrump it up in a ball and throw it in the bin. So as you're working through your negativity sheet, ask those 3 questions and just write down or think of the thought pattern that you're going to go through, and then you'll have the answers at the end. And this is what we're going to process now. So you've asked the 3 questions, you've gone through the whole week, and then you've got a bunch of answers at the end. What do we do with those answers? So you want to take out your important ones. So anything that triggered is it important now? If it's still important now at the end of the week, then we take those to one side and then we break those down even further. So by breaking those down further, we just think of a plan to solve that. We don't throw that away in the bin. All the other stuff goes in the bin. So we just make sure that we've got a plan. So your negativity that is still important now is what we call sort of like a mini achievement that we need to gain, a mini goal. So we need to try and find a good, clear path, so we're not getting stressed, we're not getting anxious about anything, we're not getting overloaded or overwhelmed with feelings. So we just plan a simple, straight path into achieving that mini goal and conquering that negativity there for the important stuff. Now that we've sorted out the negativity, we've scrumpled it up, gone in the bin, we've made clear paths for the important things, we are now going to hit positivity. So what do we do with positivity? We do exactly the same things. I know it's a little bit boring here and a little bit tedious, but it goes on. But trust me, it works, it gives you closure, and it absolutely prepares you for the next week with a clean slate. So for the positivity, you do exactly the same thing from Monday to Sunday, in work, outside of work, whatever has given you a positive effect in life, I want you to put it down on the paper. So the 3 questions this time that I want you to ask for the positive side is, firstly, again, how did it make you feel? Secondly, is how can you recreate that feeling, that event? So can you do it again? And then finally is, how important is that feeling to you? So the feeling that you've answered, how did it make you feel? Number 3, I want you to just focus on not the event, but the feeling. How important is that feeling to you? So we're just purely going to focus on what you're feeling and the importance of the feeling. If you're feeling happy, excited, enthusiastic, nervously excited, anything like that, we're going to take those and try and recreate them in the following steps. So say you went to the park with the children, or you went to the pub with friends and had a drink. So say you scored the importance, we'll score it out of 10. So say you scored both sort of 8 and 7 respectively. We want to try and focus on the higher end of the scales of happiness to try and recreate. So we're working with the 3 questions, but in a slightly different order now. So anything that scores a relatively, say 6 and above, more than half. So 6 and above is a relatively quite good feeling, leading to a very good and the best you've ever been, basically, feeling. So we'll take those events and situations and whatever caused that feeling to happen out onto that other piece of paper again. So we're going to break these down now and to see how we can recreate those feelings. And I'll admit it is far easier to create a pathway to recreate the events that make you happy than it is to try and solve the solutions for the negativity. But still here we want a clear path on how to recreate that positivity feeling once again, and that good positive feeling within your mind and your body. So firstly, for example, I'll take the kids to the park. So what do we do again? We just wait for a fine day, or even if it's raining, stick a wetsuit on, get to the park. We can do that quite easy. Social with your friends. So drinking socially with your friends, what can you do? You can send the first text. You can ring the first person to do it. You can be the proactive person in the situation in the group rather than being the reactive and a responsive person. So if you want that feeling to continue, then you can make that initial engagement with your friends to say, I'm free this Saturday, anybody free? Let's go. So that's something very simply, like a clear path to engage and create that positivity within yourself. So now going back to the pieces of paper that we've written on, we've thrown away the negativity after we've processed them, and we've ended up with this positive piece of paper at the end of the week with our answers on. What we're going to do, we're going to keep that piece of paper and score it out of however many things you've got. Add them all up, add the scores up at the end of the importance of feeling, and just keep that until next week. And that'll gauge you of where you've come from and what you're doing and how many negative things are impacting your day from week to week in comparison to how many positives. So you can see the difference from week to week and how you will end up growing. There will be times where you'll have a really bad week, but then it's your mental resilience getting stronger and being challenged. And in the same way, you'll have a lot heavier side of negativity, which you can process, but then you'll slowly turn it into a positive aspect. Your brain will instantly think of, how can I easily avoid that situation again? Okay, so this is the technique and what it's teaching your brain to do and what it's teaching your perception of the negative things to do. So we're scoring the positivity against each other, and we're scoring obviously the negativity against each other with the number that they have in the weeks. But just to close up, the closure of the week is so important because you're not hanging on to any negative energy, and you're feeding off the positive energy, and that you want to give out the positive energy to various other people. I know it's very difficult in some situations, but trust me, if you try and practice this technique regularly, especially when you've had a really bad week, then it can really help you out going in further into Monday. Just to close off the positive and negative, you can also then lead on to the planning your future week, which I'll do another video on next week, but we'll focus on the closure of our week firstly, and I'll talk more next week about how to effectively plan the week ahead in a positive manner. If you liked the video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I post content every Sunday and release it morning time, so you're prepped for the week ahead. I'll leave you today like I always do, and that is, make today a positive day. I'll catch you soon.